everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tracking a massive impending shift in artificial intelligence. Honestly, it's less of a shift and more of a supersonic tsunami of technological change. Experts are predicting that this wave isn't just going to change how we code or how we entertain ourselves, it is going to fundamentally rewire our daily infrastructure. So to really understand where you and your career fit into this new future, we need to take a hard look at the massive leaps happening right now behind closed doors. Okay, let's just dive straight into the deep end here. Leading frontier AI company Anthropic is actually calling for a temporary global pause on development. Why? Because of a sudden and massive acceleration in capabilities. When the exact engineers and executives who are actively building the future are asking the world to hit the brakes and brace for impact, well, we absolutely have to pay attention. So the core reason for this drastic warning is that we are reportedly brushing right up against the technological singularity. Now, we aren't just talking about a helpful chatbot drafting your morning emails anymore. No, we are talking about crossing an intelligence threshold where technological growth literally becomes uncontrollable. It's a point that irreversibly redefines how every single thing in our world gets built. The absolute crucial pivot point here is the shift from human-driven development to what Anthropic calls recursive self-improvement. For the entire history of AI, humans have firmly been in the driver's seat. But now, developers are actively delegating the building of AI to the AI systems themselves. Which leaves us with a totally staggering question. What actually happens when AI learns to design its own successor? Well, we can actually track this rapid evolution pretty clearly. Think about it. We've gone from humans writing every single line of code completely by hand to working alongside little chatbot helpers to currently managing autonomous digital agents. And the projections coming from inside the industry, they suggest that by the end of 2027, these models will be fully autonomous. We're talking about executing complex, week-long tasks from start to finish with zero human intervention.
If you want a reality check, listen to this single, staggering metric from Anthropic's own internal data. Reportedly, 80% of the code recently merged into their codebase was authored by the AI itself, not human engineers. Just think about that for a second. The humans aren't even building the majority of the code that powers the frontier models anymore.
Because these systems are now literally iterating on themselves, experts argue this autonomous coding loop isn't just going to make AI, twice as good. It's predicted to trigger a mind-bending 100x capability jump over the next year alone. To put a 100x leap into perspective, it's like going from a digital assistant that sets your alarm to an autonomous developer that crushes an entire human engineering team's week of work overnight. And human developers on the ground are already feeling this drastic shift. Their day-to-day jobs are rapidly transitioning from active problem-solving and coding to basically just reviewing the massive avalanche of output generated by these AI loops. The bottleneck is literally no longer human typing speed. It's simply verifying if the AI's relentless output actually does what it claims to do. All right, let's move into Section 1, the infrastructure pivot. Now, you might be wondering, how is this autonomous leap physically possible? Well, we have to look at the massive computing power required. Recently, Anthropic hit a computational wall. They were essentially starved for compute power. So, to break through, Elon Musk integrated SpaceX's massive Colossus 1 data centers right into Anthropic's workflow. And now, they're expanding to the Colossus 2 data center in Memphis, Tennessee. This maneuver completely removed their compute bottleneck, supercharging their timeline to self-improvement. This represents a massive strategic shift in the AI race. Rather than just competing on software and trying to release the next smart chatbot, players like Elon Musk are moving to secure the foundational hardware. By owning the literal real estate and infrastructure that these massive frontier models require, he puts himself in a uniquely powerful position. It's all about oversight and control over the industry's physical constraints. Moving on to Section 2, the creator collision, Hollywood and beyond. So these are not some far-off sci-fi pipe dreams. They are incredibly near-term realities. We're looking at a very near future where independent creators can generate entire AAA video games with a single prompt, or produce full TV shows overnight without a single human crew member. This wipes out traditional industry roles while wildly empowering solo producers. And it totally spills over into corporate life, rapidly replacing data-heavy roles like accounting and completely disrupting the inherent value of a traditional college degree. For technical and white-collar workers out there, your daily time allocation is about to flip on its head. Instead of spending your day actually executing tasks, you're looking at a future of roughly 15% manual labor or coding versus 85% of your time spent managing, prompting, and steering AI output. Your core value in the workforce is shifting away from doing the task to entirely managing the machine doing the task. The urgency of this transition really cannot be overstated. As the source panel pointed out, it's like saying, if you decided back during the Industrial Revolution, I am still going to keep picking all my crops by hand, well, you're toast. Refusing to adapt to these new tools out of stubbornness or even fear is essentially economic suicide. The modern professional absolutely has to learn how to operate this new heavy machinery of the mind. Which brings us to Section 3, Humanity's AI Dilemma, Two Potential Futures. All this rapid acceleration brings up some deep existential concerns, leaving us staring down two vastly different timelines. On the utopian side, imagine a Star Trek future. AI discovers radical medical cures, solves complex quantum mechanics, maybe automates global food production. But flip the coin and we risk a dystopian future. Massive economic turmoil from job losses, an over-reliance on AI we don't fully understand, and catastrophic security vulnerabilities. Let's zero in on that dystopian risk for a second. Cautious voices from the source material are issuing a very specific warning about a looming Hindenburg event. Because these AI models sound so incredibly authoritative, humans are blindly trusting them as flawless experts. But when society relies heavily on an unverified black box system, one that we can't look inside or fully understand, a spectacular, sudden, and highly visible failure becomes almost inevitable. And the immediate practical threats are already forming right now. We are looking at a near-term reality where AI seamlessly cracks traditional passwords, which drives an incredibly urgent need for quantum encryption. Plus, the panel touched on some serious debates regarding ideological biases programmed into these models by their creators, alongside the very real potential for pervasive government surveillance architectures where AI could continuously scan private communications. Okay, finally, Section 4, the craft beer analogy. So in the middle of all this hyper-industrialized autonomous perfection, the source material highlighted a fascinating, deeply human counter-movement. The panel compared human-made art to craft beer. The idea is that as AI-generated media becomes flawlessly synthesized, infinitely abundant, and ultimately a bit cold, consumers might actually revolt. We may gravitate back toward human creation specifically because of their authentic, imperfect spark. We'll start valuing the soul behind a creation precisely because a machine didn't make it. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought for today's explainer. In a world where an AI can generate a flawless reality 100 times faster than we ever could, will the imperfections of the human touch become our most valuable commodity? As we race at breakneck speed toward the singularity, what happens to the value of simply being human? Definitely keep that in mind as you navigate this rapidly shifting landscape. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.